Hello and welcome to the show. This is the Sales for the Nigerian Business Person podcast. It's available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, or any podcast player of your choice. So subscribe for free once you're done listening to this episode, just in case you're using your web browser to listen. Today on the show, we have audio recordings from the WhatsApp School of Business program that I advertised on Saturday, the 15th of July 2023. The goal of the program was to introduce folks to the fundamentals of doing business in Nigeria and to show how sales and business development principles can help you overcome the harsh landscape of doing business in our dearly beloved country. I also wanted to answer general business questions posed by the participants, and the program was delivered entirely over WhatsApp for the course of more than 1 week. And this is an example of how you can get truly convenient business education in your pocket and learning over WhatsApp at your convenience. If you love what you hear on the podcast and you like daily access to me, to ask me questions related on how to sell in your business, then the WhatsApp Coaching Club is now open, and the investment required for that is only 5,000 naira a month. You ask me anything, I give you answers and assignments to move your business forward. So if you're interested, hit me up on the socials. Don't worry about how to spell my name. I spend most of my time on LinkedIn, and my name, Tabashima Ayede, is the correct spelling. You can find it in the web browser where you're currently listening to this episode. You see the spelling of my name, the email address, and the photo, and it's also in the profile of the podcast app where you're currently listening to my voice. So Tavashima Ayede, the correct spelling of the name, is there. So if you're interested in the 5K, the WhatsApp Coaching Club, the 5K monthly investment, then let me know. Hit me up, send me a message on 080 6466 2140. The country code for Nigeria is +234. And for those of you who are trying to save to start a business, I'm affiliated with a reputable financial institution in Nigeria that has 504 billion naira in assets. And what that means is they're not going to go broke anytime soon. They're a secure organization to work with. They're not going to run away with your money anytime soon. They're in the business of protecting and guaranteeing your savings. This is not a bank, so you're not going to have an ATM card. You're not going to get hit by lots of miscellaneous fees. And you're going to get an interesting, or rather, you're going to get an improvement on the interest that you get from regular savings banks in Nigeria. And then, of course, this is safer than using loan sharks for the capital to start your business, because loan sharks are going to want to embarrass you and your whole family, and they want you to put your father and your mother up as credit. Sorry, not credit. What's that word? As collateral for the loan. So if you're interested, then hit me up on 080 6466 2140 to get started on saving towards your dream. Now remember, it doesn't have to be saving towards a business. Any savings plan will do. People have saved with this organization for their children's education. Let's say, like me, you have kids in primary school and you're wondering about secondary school and the all-expensive university education. And then, of course, folks like my mom saving towards retirement. So if you're interested, hit me up and let's get you started. Now, on with the episode for today. Hello, everyone. It's still Monday, the 31st of July, 2023. And now we're going to answer the final question that was posed by our architect, Ose, who is based in JOS, Plateau State. Now, the final part of the question is, what do you do when the client says that your price is too high? He wants to know if you stamp your feet and you risk losing the client. So that's what we're going to tackle today. And what he said was, he spoke about some tension between knowing the value of your work and especially since I've had a background as a wedding photographer, or rather as an artist or as a creative, I understand the tension that he's talking about. We put a lot of time invested in learning our craft, perfecting our skill, YouTube videos, what else? We spend a lot of time in developing ourselves, and so we get a very strong sense of what it is that we think that we are worth, and that is what we bring to the table whenever we are talking to clients. So for those of us on the group who are artists or technicians, so web designers, photographers, painters, sculptors, you guys feel this the most. That is coming forward, talking with a client, you know the value of your work, and it looks like they don't value you, they don't value your work, and that's some of the tension that you guys feel. So I want to try and reframe some things. It's not about knowing the value of your work, but rather it's about market validation. It's about the market recognizing the value of your work, because you know the value of your work, what you can do, what you can bring to the table. But it takes a while for the market to realize that. It takes a while for you to create a body of work, to create a brand, and all those other things that help people value you or see you differently right from the beginning. So we should not be looking at things personally when it comes to pricing. It should not be that this guy is pricing me like granite. So it's not that the guy is pricing me, it's that the guy is pricing the work, or he's pricing the value proposition. So it's either I'm going to have to get better at my craft, or either I'm going to be able to get better at my value proposition, which is showing the value that I bring to the market and getting better at sales. Those are the things that you need to improve, and this has nothing to do about the value of you per se, or the value of your work. So it's not about the value of your work, it's about market validation of your work. Is what the market thinks about your work that we should try to figure out now and then try and improve on over time. So it's the market. It's not about what you feel. This is just purely demand and supply. So for those of us who are artists, photographers, those of us who are technicians, like we'll say, you're an architect, you're a web developer, and things like that, we have a high sense of self-worth. But let's not bring this to the table. If you bring it to the table, it's just going to frustrate you, because you currently feel as if people are pricing you down, as if people are pricing groundnut every time they call you. So it's not about you, it's about the market. Now, the second part of the question on whether to stamp your feet, in other words, that's to stand tall and stand on your price and risk losing the client. Okay, there are different ways of going about this. But from a sales perspective, the answer is not really. But rather, what you need to do is you need to have qualifying conversations and money conversations upfront before you guys get to the negotiation, and then the guy is pricing groundnut, just using you to price anyhow. So, qualifying conversation, I've made reference to it on the group before, but I think maybe you guys have forgotten. The perfect sales process involves, rather, it starts with three steps. Number one is prospecting, which I have mentioned, and that was the first part of Ose's question. We are trying to figure out who could possibly want my product or my service, where can I find them, and what is the game plan for starting a conversation with them, for building a relationship with them, things like that. The second part of the equation is called qualification or qualifying. And to qualify, you're trying to find out, number one, am I speaking to the right person? Do they really have a need? And then you're also trying to figure out that this, money, budget, things like that. You're trying to figure out whether you guys are in the same range. Because if you're not in the same range, and the person's money expectations are not realistic, then you're going to waste time by negotiating with this person. Let me give an example. Back to the wedding photographer thing. You're a wedding photographer. As far as you're concerned, you want to charge anything between 300k and 500k. You need to set up that expectation early in the conversation, because there are some people that will call you that in their own mind they're thinking a badass photographer is 150k. Now, that person has decided that 150k is a badass photographer. There's nothing you're going to do to make that person double his budget from 150k to 300k to work with you. So, the best thing that you need to find out from the beginning is where that guy is, so that you know that this is a 150k person. You won't be frustrating yourself, you won't frustrate two of you. You just weave the guy quickly and then you move on. Some people, this is the place where they will say, oh, okay, 150k. Okay, no problem. Let me give you somebody else that you can call. For me, my own package is 300k, 500k. So you need to set that thing up early. And that is where qualification comes in, where you try to get a sense of the people's money expectations. It's a conversation that we should have early before we invest time with this person. We call them on Monday, they'll call us on Thursday, and then we go to the office. We have a meeting on Tuesday, and then they're just using us to price up and down. And then you're now feeling like the guy doesn't value you or value your time. You need to have had all these money expectations, money conversations early. Now, how do you set up these money conversations upfront? You start off by giving a range when you guys talk. So that early conversation where the person says, hey, how far you do 3D, Abby? And I say, yes, I do 3D. And I say, okay, I beg you, help me run this thing. It's a small project like this. We're going to do 3D animation for a 5-minute segment. You animate from here to here, you animate from here to here. It's a very small something. It won't cost anything at all. It won't cost much. So you notice people that call like that and saying, "Oh, it's a small thing. Maybe we'll just run them sharp, sharp. You just do this, you just do that. Is no big deal." You already get a sense that money might be an issue for this person. So you have to dive straight into money expectations. This is the part where you're going to say, "Okay, no problem, Oga, I've heard you. Okay, but from what you have discussed so far, you say we're going to render XYZ and we're going to render from here to here and we'll do 3D design from this to this. From what you have described, it can cost anything between 200k to 400k. But before I give you an exact figure, I have to ask you some more questions so that I can give you an exact figure. So this amount that I've called now, are you cool with that? Are you okay with that? You ask that question and then you keep quiet and then you hear what that guy says and then you read his body language. If the guy says 200k, 400k, as in how, from where? That last week I gave Chukudi 50k and Chukudi ran this thing for me. You're here now talking 200k. My advice to you is that kind of person, don't engage, because the gap between 50k that he thinks is reasonable and 200k which you charge, and maybe you, like you hang out with your homeboys, you know that anybody who's to run this thing in JOS, maybe they'll run it for that same price. Maybe somebody will run it for 150. So you know that the reasonable price is like anything between 150 and 400. Just keep quiet and weave. Let the person go. Tell the person, okay, you paid Chukudi 50k, Abi, and go and meet Chukudi, and then you just leave it like that. Or, well, um, you educate the person. And look, where we are now in this city, if to say we're back at home in Makudi or in Lafia, maybe somebody will collect 50k. But look, if you are here, we're in Plateau State. This is the quality of work that we're used to. Most of us, this is the kind of education that we have. This is the software that we're going to use. This is the quality of work you're going to get. And for what you've told me, you can go anywhere in the city. You won't. The cheapest you will get is 150k. And then you give the guy assignment. Tell him to go and shop it. You say, you know what? From what I've told you, go and check the market, and then see. If you find anybody that's going to do it lower than you, that is going to do it for you for 150, then okay, no problem. Come back and meet me. I'll run it for you for 150. That's if you want to engage with this person. But these are ways that you handle you handle these things. Set this money expectation up front. Don't let this thing lag. Once you hear the person, you get a sense of what it is that they're talking about. Don't give a firm quote. Just give a range. Now, okay, from what you described right now, it can cost anything between like that kind 150, maybe 250k. But before I tell you exactly, I need to ask you some more questions so I can give you an exact price. So how far? Are you cool with that? Should we continue? How does that sound? That kind of question. You always push for feedback, and most importantly, when you do that, just keep quiet and let the person talk from this point. From what the person says next, from their body language, you know the kind of person that you're dealing with. If the person says 200 to 400, that 400 is high, but anyway, let's see, Sha. Maybe with the yarn, let's continue. Then you know that okay, you have a shot, and you can continue negotiating with this person. Ask the questions that you need to, and then you'll be able to give him an exact figure. So there's room. But then the person that shouts, or the person that says 200k, why? Because you want to build a house on top of my head. Those people, leave them alone. That's actually one that somebody told me early in my wedding photography career. The person told me that, for what? You want to build house? Back then I didn't know. So I tried engaging with the person. Those ones get you nowhere. There are also some people who say things like, 200k, you're not serious. Be saying 200k, continue. Those people, you can't win. Just let them go. So this is the best way to deal with these people. Set up the money expectation upfront. Set it up quickly. Know who you're dealing with from the beginning, because that will tell you the people that you should just weave and just leave, or the people that you should negotiate with. If you want to engage with this kind of people, you're just giving yourself headache. But if you want to engage, then the proper way is itemize the value. Okay, the reason why it's 200k is this. This is the software we're using. We're using Adobe this. We're using Premiere that. Rendering will cost. Will do this. Will do this. I'll have to pay somebody to render this part, render that part. So that's the reason why this thing, I can't do this job for you less than 200k. Tell him to shop the quote. If you find anybody that is going to do this thing cheaper, no problem, come back, I'll run it for you. Then you should also ask questions to understand why he thinks his price is reasonable. Because for people that say, but I paid Chukudi 50k last week and he did this thing for me, ask more questions like, oh, really? Chukudi did it for you for 50k? Okay, what exactly did he do? Let me see it. What's the work? When you look at the work, you now understand why it's 50k. Maybe because Chukudi played the first one, I didn't render it properly. Or maybe it's not the kind of quality that you are thinking of. Because some people are not expecting the best quality service, they just want the cheapest thing so that they can quickly pay and then leave. If you look at it, you might even see that, oh, actually at that 50k that Chukudi paid, you can do the job and then the profit will be nice because you spend 5 minutes and then you collect 50k. So you might even look at it and say, okay, it's only this. No problem, bring it. And then you render the thing for 50k and then you give the guy. Anyway, I don't know much about 3D design and all these sorts of things that you do in your business. So I'm just freestyling here to try and give you a sense of how it is that you handle this pricing thing. But if you ask me, my own preferred opinion, especially as someone who used to be an artist in the wedding space, my preferred opinion is don't waste your time. Just qualify quickly with these people. Know who you're talking to. Set the expectation up front. And then once you know who you're dealing with, if it's one of these people that want to price groundnuts, don't engage with them. Just weave them. Just weave them quickly. You say, okay, 50k Abby. Okay, no problem. Let me give you somebody's number. Or you can say, there's some people who even say, okay, I'm coming. I have another meeting now. Let me go for this meeting. I'll see you later. And then they never call the person again. However it is that you want to weave, however it is that you want to get out of the situation, just weave these people. There's no point engaging emotionally. These people will drain you, and it will make it much more difficult to continue to hustle, the kind of hustle that you need to hustle every day. So that's it. That's how you handle the situation, what to do when the client says that your price is too high. So now that we're done with the questions from Ose, our architect in Plateau State, we're going to move on to the questions now from Mary Speaks, who's in the NGO space, and Elizabeth. I can't remember what lines of business Elizabeth is involved in. I have to check our private chat, and then we'll get to those next. But I'll share those questions in the chat so that we can get our minds warmed up as to possible solutions for their problems. And like I said earlier, if you guys have problems that you guys want me to tackle question wise, then hit me up, put it here in the group, or you can send it to me in a private message. Either way is fine.